Hello and welcome to Mystery.
Today we're at Wookey Hole.
And on today's show...
we investigate the legend of King Arthur. Did he really exist?
And what incredible coincidence happened to this man? Hi, I'm Shiarra.
And I'm Steve. Welcome to another jam-packed episode of Mystery.
So Steve, what exactly are we doing here?
Well, we're at the famous Wookey Hole Caves in Somerset.
And they really are amazing, aren't they?
Definitely. How do you think they were formed?
Well, I guess it was the flow of the river that created the caves in the first place by gushing underground through the gaps and taking large chunks of rock with it until these beautiful caverns were formed.
You know, I think you're absolutely right there, Shiarra. Also, though, did you know that 50,000 years ago, people did live down here in these caves?
Actually, I did know that because one of these women was said to be an old witch, but more about her later.
So, are you into a bit of folklore then? You know, witches, wizards, dragons, King Arthur, that kind of thing?
Well, sort of, but I'm not really convinced on the whole King Arthur thing.
Okay, well, here's something that may surprise you. See what you think. Now, we all know the legend of King Arthur, the sword from the stone, the knights of the Round Table, and Merlin the magician. But what we don't know is whether King Arthur really existed. Well, the legend begins here at Tintagel Castle in Cornwall. It's said that King Arthur was born here and grew up under the guidance of Merlin. And it was around Tintagel that Arthur pulled the legendary sword, Excalibur, from the stone. The legend says this proved he was the chosen one, the true king.
Hang on a minute, you say King Arthur was born in Tintagel, but how do you know? Were you there?
No, I read about it in an ancient manuscript.
What? That's it? You read about it in a book? Don't you realise that you can't believe everything you read in books, Steve?
So have you got a better explanation?
Well, actually, I may have. In those days, a king would have proven himself by defeating an enemy in battle, and King Arthur, if he existed, would have fought against the Saxons.
So what's your point?
Well, this ancient manuscript of yours was written in Latin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the Latin word for stone is?
Saxum.
Well, I reckon that at some stage or another, somebody mixed up the words Saxum and Saxon. Get it?
So what you're saying is that King Arthur took the sword from a Saxon and not from the stone?
Exactly. A much more believable explanation. Pretty interesting, I'd say.
Yeah, but not as exciting. Can I continue?
Please do.
Once Arthur was king, legend has it he lived at the famous castle of Camelot, which would have been one of the finest castles in the land. The precise location of Camelot is unknown, but one possible site is the area around the River Camel, which was also the scene for Arthur's last battle. I'm now standing in Slaughter-Bridge on the River Camel, which, as the name suggests, was the scene of the most bloody of King Arthur's battles. Here you can see a stone which has been ravaged by time, and it has a Latin inscription showing that this was where King Arthur faced his most deadly enemy. Arthur defeated his opponent, but was mortally wounded in the battle. After his last battle, King Arthur was taken to the mysterious Isle of Avalon, which is said to have been here, on the site of Glastonbury Abbey. In 1191, the monks of the abbey discovered a tomb with an inscription claiming to be the burial place of King Arthur. It was moved at that time and has since mysteriously disappeared, but you can still clearly see the tomb's outline. So there you have it, the mystery of King Arthur solved. He really did exist after all.
What? Mystery solved? You're joking, aren't you? Just because you read something in a book or found some ancient stone does not mean that you've solved the mystery.
Well, it's all pretty conclusive to me. And what about the tomb at Glastonbury?
Well, it may be that King Arthur was buried there, but the tomb mysteriously vanished, so you just can't believe it, can you?
Well, I can. Mystery solved.
Mystery unsolved.
Solved.
Unsolved.
Solve.
But I don't care what Steve says. This is one mystery that remains unsolved.
1,500 years ago, there would have been no steps leading into the caves. Instead, there would have been a very steep, slippery slope, and all of this would have been in complete darkness.
And that's when the woman I told you about earlier moved in with her goats.
Hey, stop butting in, Shiarra.
Anyway, as I was saying, the locals all thought this woman was really strange. After all, who'd want to live with a bunch of goats? And whenever anything went wrong in the village, the locals blamed her and called her the Witch of Wookey Hole.
Have you finished yet, Shiarra?
No, not yet. It's also been said that the witch used to eat kids for her dinner right here in the witch's kitchen.
Ooh, partial to a bit of steak and kidney then.
Steve, you're really beginning to get on my goat. When the woman wouldn't leave the caves, the locals had to call for some outside help, and Father Bernard, an abbot from Glastonbury Abbey, was called in for the job. He bravely chased the witch into her kitchen and threw holy water at her, where she instantly turned to stone. And here she still stands today. Can you see the witch?
No, not really. I think your story lacks solid foundation, Shiarra.
Oh, Steve. Well, they do know that someone lived down here in the depths of Wookey Hole Cave. But could it really have been a witch?
I don't know. Maybe I'll ask her. Then again, maybe not. Bit of a stony face.
Hi, I'm Lucy Townsend and I live here in Devon. Many years ago in Torquay, there was a sighting of 16 balls of fire in the night sky. In 1978, orange lights were seen in the skies above nearby Teignmouth, and later in that year, a flying saucer was seen hovering over the town. But the weirdest place of all is an area called Babbacombe. Not long ago, some people were just walking down the street, minding their own business, when they saw bright lights in the sky. Others reported sinister noises coming from behind a wall. But the strangest thing happens in winter, when everything comes to a halt, until the summer, when it all starts up again. These strange sightings only happen in the summer, and I realised why when I witnessed something in the area with my own eyes. I saw bright lights in the sky, heard a weird noise, a bit like the sound effects from a film. So I came back the next night with a camera to film it. This incredible place wasn't built until the 1960s, and it is now one of the most visited villages in the country. I'm at Babbacombe Model Village, which has realistic high streets, quaint little villages, water features, and a lot more, all on a miniature scale. And in the summer, it has an amazing UFO light show. And it's this spectacular UFO landing which could easily be mistaken for the real alien invasion.
Wow, that was amazing.
I know, and so realistic. No wonder it fools so many people.
Well, strange things often happen to people when they least expect it.
I know, I ended up working with you.
Be serious, Steve. Anyways, hasn't something strange happened to you? Like maybe you and your best friend have worn the same coloured top on the same day, or perhaps you've bumped into someone somewhere you'd hardly ever expect to see them.
That kind of thing happens to me all the time.
Well, that's nothing compared to what happened to Luke Draper and his wife when they went on holiday to Canada. The couple had taken themselves on a long walk along the coastline. When they arrived back at their caravan, Luke was excited about something that he had found on their walk.
It's amazing. I mean, you'd never dream of it, would you?
It does seem pretty weird.
What do I write? I've no idea where to start.
Calm down, I'm sure it'll all come to you.
Okay, right.
A couple of weeks later, a family was sat around the table having their breakfast.
Could you pass me the jam, please, Isabel? Thank you.
Next time send the postman. I'll go. There's one here for me. I don't recognise the handwriting. I wonder who it could be from.
Well, open it and let's find out.
It's come from aboard. Look at that stamp. Open it then.
He quickly opened the letter and gasped in disbelief.
Whoa!
What's up? Who's it from? Are you all right, love?
So what's so special about a letter being sent from one country to another?
Well, believe it or not, it's all connected with something that happened 8 months earlier. And you're going to be amazed by this one.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll see.
8 months earlier, the boy and his family had been on holiday to Cornwall and had taken themselves off to the beach for a picnic lunch.
I'm bored, Mum. What's for lunch?
You've got sandwiches and some crisps and fruit. Do you want something now?
Is there a nectarine?
Sure.
Thanks, Mum.
Why don't you build some sandcastles like your sister?
Not a boy. Actually, Dad, can I have a pen and a piece of paper? I want to write a message, put it in this bottle, and send it out to sea.
Yeah, I've got something in here. There we are.
Thanks, Dad.
8 months later, Luke Draper and his wife were taking a stroll along the Canadian coastline when Luke spotted something floating by the water not far from his feet.
Look, there's a bottle. It's got something inside.
It's probably just some rubbish. We'll take it with us and put it in the bin.
If I can just get it opened. Now, let's see what's inside.
What's up?
I can't believe it. But there's this message inside and...
Oh, look, it's from England. Gosh, that's a long way to come, all the way to Canada.
No, it's not that. Look.
So, what was it then? Don't leave me hanging like this.
Well, don't you think it's amazing that a bottle could have travelled all the way from England to Canada?
Well, yeah, I worked that bit out ages ago, but what else was so special about this particular message in a bottle?
That's incredible. It's from a boy in England who has the same name as you, Luke Draper. What are the chances of that happening?
I must write to him. I bet he'd be as surprised about this as I am. Let's go back. I'll do it now.
So let's get this straight. The bottle travelled for thousands of miles from Britain to Canada. And not only that, but there was a message inside the bottle that was written by a boy called Luke Draper, and it was found and read by a man with exactly the same name.
Yep, I told you it was amazing. In fact, there's another story where a young boy accidentally dropped a bottle of cough mixture into a river and it was found by his auntie over 200 miles away. She knew it was her nephew's cough bottle because his name was clearly printed on the front of the bottle. Now that's what I call a coincidence.
So there you have it. We've uncovered the legend of King Arthur. We've solved the mystery lights of Babbacombe, and we've checked out one of the strangest coincidences ever.
But before we go, we still have one more mystery to bring you from the depths of Wookey Hole Caves.
Down here in chamber number 3, there's a small beech tree. Now, I know that doesn't sound very mysterious, but bear in mind it's never seen daylight, so it never knows what season it is.
Yet it still manages to shed its leaves in the winter and grow new ones in the spring. Now, I think that's pretty amazing.
One of nature's little mysteries, eh?
Just like you, Steve.
Thanks, Shiarra. Well, that's it for today. Join us next time for some more mysteries. Bye. On our next show, what mystery object did this woman dig up in her garden that was not all it appeared to be?
And what freaky shower did Bob Ryder get caught in?